Hey, what is up YouTube? This is the Merman Master coming at you guys from the Team Time Riders YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a test hands video of my brand new Vennominaga deck build. I'm sure, and hopefully a lot of you guys have watched the test profile already, so you already know what to expect in this particular deck. But as I did with my previous video, what I'd like to do is to take the opportunity, take this deck, and do a couple of test hands. So we're gonna do one single take with this. We're going to lay down all the cards in a single shot, and I'm going to draw test hands and show you how the deck works. Now, as I mentioned, guys, what I wanted to do with this deck profile was to accomplish two specific goals. The first goal was to design a deck that could get out as high an attack power Vennominaga as possible. One of Vennominaga's great weaknesses is its inability to, like its destruction by battle is its great weakness, because your opponent can destroy it and then they can call by the grave it and you can't get it back after that. However, with some of the other cards in the Vennominaga lineup, the other kind of strategy that I really wanted to kind of get across was this whole idea of, well, you have, my previous deck was just very much like try and trigger all the trap cards so that you get it. And, once you get Vennominaga, that's good. But, if you have any part of your combo messed up at any point in time, the entire kind of deck falls apart. And so people getting stopped by Harpy's Feather Duster or Lightning Storm or Ash. And so rather than try and solve for those cards, what I wanted to do was kind of design a deck that could play through all sorts of negation and still be able to field you the cards that you want. By designing a reptile deck where the main deck was just as strong as your Vennominaga play, what I'm hoping to do with this build particularly is to make sure that the deck itself functions as an actual deck, and when you do get Vennominaga out, it's just one piece in a larger combo and not necessarily the be-all end-all play, which, that's how it is. So we're going to start things off first with a cut of the deck, and we're going to draw our first test hand. So right away, any hand where you've got Snake Rain is a great hand, and this is the perfect first hand to kind of go forward here with some of these strategies. So we're going to start out by taking a look here. We have many different play styles that we can go through. We can go for a synchro play. We can go for multiple reptiles engraved. We can start with an Allure of Darkness. There's a variety of different plays that we can go for here. So immediately what we're looking here is for different play styles. So let's start off with this particular play right here. We're going to save the Allure of Darkness for a little bit. But what we can do out first here, we have one piece of our Vennominaga combo and can draw into a couple of more. So we're going to start this play out by, we can either activate the Nunu, or what we're going to do with this particular play is use our Nunu to discard it to the graveyard and grab 4 reptiles from our deck to our graveyard. What we're going to start this move out is we're going to grab reptiles that like to be in the grave. A perfect kind of shot for that is to grab one of at least Zoha or Flogos to the graveyard. So this time we're going to grab a Zoha. We're going to grab both copies of our Venom. And finally, we're going to go ahead and, let's see here, we'll grab our Alert. Alert is another card that loves to be in the graveyard, guys. So now we have 5 reptiles in our graveyard, including 2 of our Venom. Now we can either activate the Allure of Darkness, or we can go for a specific particular play. But since we have no reptiles on our side of the board, what we can do is we can activate our Nunu the Ogdoadic Remnant, who can special summon itself in attack or defense mode when you control no reptiles. What we can then do is we can either discard this for an effect, or we can normal summon our Reptilian Coatl. But what I'm actually going to do at this moment is do something a little bit kind of crazy. And whether or not you guys think that this is the right course of play here or not is completely your choice. You can see here how there's not one particular play path that you can go forward to determine whether or not you can get into Vennominaga, you have several different options here. So we're going to discard this card back to the front from the hand to the grave in order to grab back your this guy here, your Zoha, the Ogdoadic Boundless. So you send the card to the graveyard to grab. Now we have 2 reptiles in hand, so we can do a normal or a special summon here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this move by activating Allure of Darkness. We're going to draw 2 more cards from the deck. Look at that, we have another card here. We can now banish your Zoha, the Ogdoadic Boundless, from the game. I should really put all of this stuff over here so that it's easier to see. And then we can normal summon our Reptilian Coatl. Since we're going first this duel, we could overlay and go into our King of the Feral Imps, or, and detach and search a reptile, depending on if we want to activate this particular effect. Or what I think we'll do this time around is to synchro both of these away to go into the powerful Reptilian Melusine. Now this actually really works out for our combo play here, because when you have Reptilian Melusine on the board, what happens is that offering to the Snake Deity, when it's set, can trigger to pop your Reptilian Melusine, and because Reptilian Melusine is indestructible by battle and card effects, this does not affect the card at all. So you basically can use this card on your opponent's turn to get 2 free pops of their things, and your Melusine is here to stay. On your next turn, depending on what you draw, see, you have another option for Coatl, which can be special summoned, or ditch for Snake Rain to send another 4 reptiles. So you now already have a number of different play options that you can make in the deck with just that first turn play that are far more than the Venom deck by itself could have made 2 years ago. So now here's what we're going to do. What I'd like to do actually, guys, is to kind of turn down a couple of the lights here, just so that I have a little bit easier time seeing the field. So now, what we're going to do is our next play, and what that's going to be is we'll put this back and take the deck. We're going to shuffle it again. We're going to show you a couple more of the combos that this deck has in store. I'm going to do that. Opponent gets to cut. Now let's go for our next draw test hand here. And we have another pretty good hand. So this is actually one of my favorite combos in the whole deck. Depending on whether you're going first or second, I like to do these combos to showcase going first, because sometimes the extra card really helps. But I want to demonstrate that even if you do go first and not second, that the deck can still consistently put out what you're looking to put out. So we'll start out first. Whether or not you want to activate Allure of Darkness, go ahead and do that. Draw 2 cards. Nice. So it looks like we've gotten into one of the best cards in the deck, which is your Lord of the Heavenly Prison, which I'm going to showcase to you. And we also now have our Zoha, the Ogdoadic Boundless. So what we're going to do here is, depending on whether or not we want to activate Tsuchinoko's effect, we can either banish that or the Zoha, but we're going to keep this guy for now, just to have the capability to utilize him in the future. But so I kind of want to show you this combo. We'll banish the Zoha for now, and then we'll put that over in the graveyard. And what we're going to do is we're going to first activate our Snake Rain to discard Danger Tsuchinoko, and send 4 reptiles from our deck to our grave. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there is a specific reason why I sent Night Sword Serpent as well. So now 2 effects are going to trigger in grave. Your first is your Night Sword Serpent to special summon itself back, but then you get to trigger Danger Tsuchinoko as well, because its effect does not just activate any time it's discarded by its own effect. If it is discarded, period, and that includes by a card like Snake Rain, you can special summon it to board. Now all of a sudden, we have a link play here. We'll banish our other reptile here, and we can link into our Reptilian Echidna. Now, why is this important? Even though this is not your first turn, Echidna actually has some very big benefits for the card. And I'll kind of demonstrate to you why that is. Our next move is going to be as follows, guys. We're going to activate Ogdoadic Water Lily. So now, thanks to this play here, we actually have Vennominaga on board. So, what we're first going to do is as follows. We'll activate our Ogdoadic Water Lily. And what this will do is it'll allow us to send some stuff to grave. So we'll get to send 1 reptile from our deck to our graveyard. This time I think we're going to send our Reptilian Niami, in case monster in the future needs to have higher attack power. It's a very good card to send to the graveyard. Our next move is going to be now, since Reptilian Niami counts as our 5th reptile in graveyard, we're going to revive a reptile from grave and choose our Venom King of Poisonous Snakes. Our last play for this turn is going to be to activate Alirt's effect in graveyard, which will allow us to revive our Reptilian Echidna, revive our Alert by sending Reptilian Echidna to the graveyard, which will allow us, for exchange of your opponent getting a card back to their hand, to take both your reptiles and put them back into your graveyard. What this means is that your Vennominaga now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3,000 attack power on board. Not to mention that if you are running level 8 XYZ monsters, you've got 2 level 8 monsters on board now for plays. But the most important part of this is to set this card and activate your Lord of Heavenly Prison's effect to reveal it. What this is going to do is set you up with a nice Icarus attack play, where in next turn what can happen is you can special summon your Lord of the Heavenly Prison and grab whatever card you want out of your deck, thanks to the protection of your back row, including, of course, Rise of the Snake Deity, which can set, and then now you have your Venom, you have a set back row, and you've got Rise of the Snake Deity. You can also grab, another copy of Snake Rain, or you can grab a Trap Trick, or anything that you pretty much want out of the deck. So it allows you to search through your deck for the spells and traps that are most important to carry out your plays. The important thing to think about in a deck like this is not necessarily to pigeonhole yourself into 1 or 2 cards, but to think about the general strategy lines that a deck like this would use and what your end goal is. Your end goal, of course, is Vennominaga, and assembling your pieces while utilizing reptiles is really important. So we're going to do another test hand here so you guys can get a better general feel. Cut our deck once again. Let's do it. All right, perfect. So here's another really good hand, except this time we drew the Vennominaga. So how can we make this hand useful? Well, the question is, are we going first or second? If we're going first, one of the chief plays might be this as follows. Summon Naya, the Ogdoadic Remnant, to grab an Ogdoadic spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So we'll grab Ogdoadic Water Lily, okay? Then we can activate, so we can either do one of 2 plays. We can activate Water Lily outright, or we can set it and activate without revealing Lord of Heavenly Prison to special Lord to the field. Lord can count as an extra material, link material, that is, for any kind of plays that you're planning on doing. But what we're chiefly going to try and do here is to set up your Reptilian Vasky. So if we activate Ogdoadic Water Lily, what we can do is we can send a monster to the graveyard. And the monster I think we're going to send this time around will be our Nunu. So you see, instantly a hand that looks like it's bricked is now not anymore because you can special Nunu to the field as you control an Ogdoadic and overlay Nunu itself. What you can then grab is your King of the Feral Imps, detaching a material from King of the Feral Imps to add any reptile from your deck to your hand. And this time around, I'm going to target Reptilian Coatl. This can allow me to have either a Hydra play for next turn, or in the event that my opponent destroys this card, you know, some other plays like that. Granted, this is not the best first turn board, but if you've got this revealed, you know, you can help protect yourself a little bit. There are more link plays and other things that you can do because Nunu will only lock you into reptiles while it's special summoned. So once you synchro or link it away, that effect doesn't really affect it as much. So now we got that. So ideally on your opponent's turn, what's gonna happen is they'll try to come in. You can ditch your Reptilian Niami to make one of their monsters attack power 0. The idea would be that you can bring Niami back, but also have a Nunu on board next turn, ideally, so that what you're doing here is you've got Niami back, and then you have Nunu. Nunu 0, your opponent's monster is 0. You could special summon the Coatl and either go into that or tribute Nunu and the opponent's monster for Reptilian Vasky, who is another level 8 monster that you can play in the deck and that will be on the board. So, yeah, like, one thing is, like, you know, even in non-perfect hands, like, you still do have options and things like that for plays and different combos that you can kind of go off. But I think, like, the good thing about the Ogdoadics is that their end goal is not necessarily to kill your opponent. It's just to load your grave with a bunch of reptiles, which is exactly what you want to start with. It just helps thin out the deck a lot and, you know, allows you to grant greater plays. So now we're gonna do another hand. Now this is a really good hand, another Vennominaga related hand here. This one allows you to get Vennominaga right out if you like. You just set a bunch of cards and you summon out your monster, you know, and then just like be able to sit on the card itself. The big play here is going to be to set 3, and you're going to activate Lord of the Heavenly Prison to reveal it in hand. And here's the key. So now that you have it revealed, what you're going to do is attempt to try and wait till the end phase and then trigger your trap trick. Like, this is assuming that your opponent is not going to kill you beforehand, at which point, if they're assembling a board, you use your trap trick to grab Torrential Tribute, and you don't really have a problem there. So you can grab trap trick, use trap trick to grab Torrential Tribute, trigger Torrential Tribute, and then after Torrential resolves, you special summon your Lord of the Heavenly Prison to act as an extra beater and protection. You then have it backed up, of course, by Back to the Front. But that's in the worst case scenario. In the best case scenario, which we're discussing here, you know, we'll utilize this card right now to grab your Rise of the Snake Deity by banishing 1 to set 1. That's going to allow us to trigger Lord of the Heavenly Prison during the end phase. And Lord of the Heavenly Prison's effect will trigger, allowing us to set Snake Rain. Pretty sweet, right? Well, it gets sweeter because now we have Vennominaga combo. So we can shuffle up the deck, cut, and we'll now draw for turn. Because we kept our snake on in hand, we can now activate the effect of our Snake Rain. Discarding, send 4. Two, 3, 4. Now that that's engraved, we can choose how to activate our effects here. So what we can do is we can grab back our limit reverse if we wanted. But I think one of the kind of key plays here is going to be to utilize some of the monsters that we have in Graveyard to go for some extra added benefits here. The idea behind all of this is you just basically use it to, you use limit reverse and can search out the different pieces of your combo in order to activate them like so. All right, so that is going to do it for a brief taste of combos in the Vennominaga deck. If you liked it, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. It's been the Merman Master out. Catch you guys later. Peace.